Let's look at Nigeria's foreign trade as statistics show that in the third quarter of this year, 2022, that Nigeria's foreign trade dropped to 116.6 trillion naira as oil exports fell.
Yeah, it's we saw the statistics that was released by MBS. It's foreign trade generally fell by about 19.2%. That's from quarter 3 to quarter 4. And that's mainly due to crude oil theft, crude oil reduction in crude oil productions and our exports. Crude oil exports dropped significantly, and it's because it's really in this third quarter that this crude oil theft became very noticeable. And it might not be unconnected with the fact that it was also this third quarter from June. You know, the Russia-Ukraine war started in February, March. That it was really in June when EU now placed bans on Russian energy, Russian oil. Then we now found crude oil prices hitting as high as $120. So I think the greed of this theft, these crude oil thieves, just increased. They just found out that at $120 per barrel. So if they were stealing 10 million barrels, they increased it because of high profit. So in fact, there was a point in August, our daily production was 972,000 barrels. I think that was the lowest in the last decade. So oil production just fell. In fact, it didn't reach 1 million barrels in 2 months.
And
so
compared to when we used to have close to 3,000,
exactly.
3 million barrels.
3 million, yeah. We were doing 3 in 2015. Even earlier of this administration, we were doing 2 point something. In fact, we were struggling. We were literally begging OPEC to increase our quota. But we've not even been able to go halfway off. So that has shown to be a very major factor that has led to the reduction in foreign trade. And exports was shown to have exports of agricultural products, which I said the last time, reduced from our exports was 84.2 billion. Our imports was 512 billion. So it means agriculture did not contribute. So literally what it also reveals is that we are still an oil-dependent economy. That's what it means. Because if oil fell within this quarter, and we saw it in our statistics that foreign trade dropped, exports increased. Just that the good thing about the year is that we have maintained favorable balance of trade this year. This is the first year that first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, we have maintained consistently surplus balance of trade. In fact, the last quarter, our surplus was 1.97 trillion. So first quarter, 1.2 trillion. But now it fell very significantly to 63 billion. So we see that all the gains that have been achieved since January was just lost in this third quarter, and that's because of our crude oil problem. Last year, of the 4 quarters, we only were able to achieve favorable balance of trade once, one of the quarters, that was second quarter. It was even just $100 billion. Then 2020, 4 quarters, just 1 year we maintained favorable balance of trade. So the balance of trade. So there's so much that we can take away from this year. We've consistently maintained favorable balance of trade, and that's because of first quarter, oil was doing well, prices were doing well, our production was also doing well until this third quarter. So it just means that we hope that this fourth quarter will be better because we started noticing increases in our daily production. Last month we did about 1.2 trillion. Maybe it may not be unconnected with this private firm that has been hired to
investigate oil theft.
Yeah, so we've been seeing many revelations of pipelines, not just broken, tapped. You have a pipe going somewhere to the offshore, and they will just find that within some levels beneath the ground, there's another diversion of a pipeline. So we hope, I think they are going towards Escravos, towards the Bonny Island now. So we hope that with more revelations, our oil production will increase. Because talking about increase in agriculture, it's now almost like rhetorics. Because we saw the anchor borrower programs of CBN, we saw so much that has been done, the rice pyramids and so on, and we are still importing 512 billion and exporting 84.1 billion. So it shows that we have problems with all this. And I've always talked about the fact that throwing money at problems doesn't solve it. You know, CBN seems to have taken so much visibility in the economy right now, because you can't be talking about doing anchor borrower programs. The land, you look at the Land Use Act. The Land Use Act is is under the control of the state government. The Land Use Act 1979 says that the state governor shall be holding land in trust for the people. So how does state government and local government, who are supposed to be the chief caretakers of the farmers, then you now have one policymaker in Abuja saying that he's funding agriculture, but without cooperation of the states and local governments.
So there should have been a synergy.
There should have been.
At all levels?
At all levels, including giving, even if at all they were supposed to, as I've said, I've always had a problem with throwing money at the problem. Instead of giving them the money, we should have had improved seedlings, increased technology. There's one agency of government that is in charge of taking care of carrying out research on improved technology, seed technology, fertilizers, and so central bank should rather have put in the money into research. Then whatever results come out from it, you bring it to the level of these local governments and state governments. So farmers go and take seedlings from their local government, their wards from or their units. Then, or you have agricultural, they rather should buy agricultural tractors, stoning machines, and so on, and distribute to the local government, the wards and states, instead of giving money to farmers directly. So what clearly this results from NBS shows that all the programs aimed at increasing agriculture has not yielded any fruits. We are still reliant on oil. So it just means that government has to find a way to tackle oil. We still have, it seems to still be our last hope. So it means that if oil does well, we'll do well. But as I said, the good thing is that throughout this year, we've had favorable balance of trade. So far, our exports has been higher than imports so far.
Okay, talking about exports, Spain has displaced India as Nigeria's #1 destination for exports. Why do you think that happened?
Yes, Spain proved to be this third quarter. India in the second quarter was our highest import destination that we export to. But it's now Spain, 14.72%, then India came 10.44%. So I think Spain, we noticed that because of this war in between Russia and Ukraine, we now started finding new outlets to do swap oil, because what the government has literally been doing now has been, they call it direct purchases, where we swap crude for refined oil. So that's why you see Belgium also came up. Belgium, we had Spain, we had Spain, India, Netherlands, Belgium, USA. So also in terms of our imports, those that we export for, Belgium also came #2. So Belgium, from the last NNPC report, seems to be was reported to be our second highest exporter. That's the export oil to us. Spain also was our third. So I think we are doing this crude to refined oil swap. So since crude seems to be the major component of our exports, so we are doing business with them. They give them our crude, we take refined products from them. So I think we did more business with Spain. Then India, I think India came second because we did so much with India. And I also have this feeling that, the Nigerian government, when you are indebted to a creditor, you borrow, a debtor usually does not buy from one person. You have a debtor, he buys pepper from this person today. He's owing him 300 naira or 3,000 naira. He now starts dodging that street. He now starts going to another so that he accumulates on. So we have been doing swap with India, and there have been reports that we're owing. That's why you see this current fuel scarcity. A House of Rep member recently came yesterday, once said just Ogun, and said that the whole story of NNPC saying we have enough supply is false. There's no supply, because you cannot hide supply. When there's enough, nobody will hoard. So there's no supply, because they said NNPC is owing most of the marketers, most of the countries where we import oil from. So we are not able to go and ask them to supply more because we are owing. So it's just similar to us. We've been doing business with India, refined oil. So we're probably owing them, and we're probably now changing creditors to see how we could diversify our debt. So that should be probably one of the reasons too. Yeah.
But that doesn't mean we're losing business partners. So if it happens that with Spain, it gets to the level that Nigeria has gotten with India, who do we turn to?
Yeah, so we'll probably go to another creditor again. We'll probably go to another creditor, because our financial indiscipline is our financial indiscipline is terrible. You know, sometimes it's just that we just have to make commentaries on most of these economic situations. If not, you just look at it that there is no political will. When you see, we talked about the MPA, we talked about the circular that was sent from the presidency, we talked about, you know, there has been so much, it just aches the mind. It shows that there's no political will. The government knows about all these racketeerings, because all these, why are you owing suppliers? It's not because there's no money. But when you import fuel, there's a subsidy, we've paid subsidy. There was a last report last year that Boko Haram bombed so many filling stations in Borno State. In fact, about 80% of their filling stations were bombed. It was reported on most of our news media. But you still have allocations from NNPC going to Borno State. It hasn't reduced. The House of Rep member was saying that you still have 40 trailers going to Borno State. Even after, you expect that after the bomb of those filling stations, it should reduce. So you have them going through, and there's a report that they go through the borders, they smuggle it. So the country is paying for subsidy, then some individuals are taking this subsidized for, taking it outside and making money. And of course, government knows about this. If I, in my small capacity, knows this, government that has intelligent report, you have DSS giving 48 hours to NNPCs. So it means they know something. Presidency knows. Security reports come out every day. They know all these things. But sometimes you just wonder that probably some people have engineered some people to win elections. And you know, there are agreements at these points of election. Okay, we've put our money for you to win elections, so just leave us in this our corner. So it's just a terrible thing. So until the political will is there to plug loopholes, we'll continue to owe creditors. And that's why the last time when we were talking about debt restructuring, when we had IMF come to do a survey of the country, they told the minister that she should not mention debt restructuring because they know that there's so much money in the country. We just have to uphold fiscal discipline measures, and the creditors or the debt will not be so much of a problem.